Hey, good morning everyone. David DeHaas, Living Waters, and today I'm going to give you some tips on boosting your immunity. So first of all, tip number one, this is a cold season and your body is decreased in temperature. That's a factor. But one of the first things you need to do is simple, easy to do. First thing in the morning, try and get down as much water as you can before you even eat breakfast. So you'll probably see me, I referee a lot, and you'll always see me with one of these bottles. These are, after you buy the juice, they're free. But what I like about it, they're 32 ounces, and I usually stack 3 of these on my desk because I've always been one that's had a problem with getting water down. And I just used not like to have water. So I force myself first thing in the morning. It's just become a habit. You do it for about 30 days. Your body's going to crave it. So first thing in the morning, get out of bed, get as much of this down as you can. You're going to notice you're going to have more brain power than normal. So before the coffee, before any of that stuff, get the water down. This is going to help a lot. The number 2 reason to have more water is that most of you are constipated. And when you're constipated, what you need to know is that when you're dehydrating your body, that's going to cause what they call chyme in the intestinal tract to basically become very hard. And so we want to keep more water in there. You recirculate 2.5 gallons of water per day in your colon. So if you're drinking less and less water, there's less of that to recirculate. And that's a problem. So hydrate. Number 2, I'm going to flip this now, is staying warm. This is a far infrared amethyst stone mat. You can come down, if you're watching this video, just reference this Facebook live feed, and we'll let you try this out free. If you've never tried it, first time guests, come down and try it. If you want to pay for it, it's normally $25 a session. You can buy a pack of 5 for $100. But what's great about this, amethyst and tourmaline have been known for their healing properties for centuries. Now, there's far infrared light waves coming through that mat. Now the cool thing about this versus say getting under electric blanket is putting off some energy that's not good for your body. So I would stay away from electric blanket. This is going to help you to keep your body temperature warm all day long. So here's why. Before using the biomat, you can see very poor circulation. Here's 2 weeks later. Isn't that amazing? I actually had a lady come in, she's always cold, and her solution was to go to the sun tanning booth, and she would do that daily. The problem with the sun tanning booth is you're cold afterwards. One treatment on this, and she said she stayed warm for 3 days. So that's a pretty significant change. Here's the next thing that's happening is you can see over here the blood circulation. You see here very turbid on the left, but now guess what? It's carrying more oxygen, it's moving around. That's awesome. That's all because of boosting your internal immune function by getting your body warm. The next thing is the hyperthermia function. This is a 30-minute change in a 57-year-old woman. That's significant. So what you need to know is this time of year, the reason why you're getting sick is not because there's more flu bugs flying around. There's the same amount of flu bugs all year round, but in the summertime you're warm. In the wintertime, this time of year, you're getting cold. So a 1 degree drop in your body temperature decreases the enzyme activity by 40%. So think of the enzymes as guards at the fort. Think of the guards at the fort are asleep because they're cold. We want to get them warm so they're active. So the thing to remember from here is that we're going to have a 40% increase in enzyme activities if we're warm, 50% decrease if we're cold. So if you're hot, bugs lose. If you're cold, bugs win. All right, so keep your body warm. Like your mother said, don't go outside without your coat, you'll catch your death of cold. That was true. So we've got a way to actually enhance your immune function. So most people have this problem though. So if you're one that's cold, that's not natural. So what's happened is because of constipation, you have lack of circulation. We'll talk about constipation in a minute. Let's talk about cancer, okay? Harvard University has proven that at 42 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit, cancer cells die. Why does that happen? Let me show you. This is pretty cool. The biomat emits far infrared rays from amethyst, which are going to encourage your body to secrete a thing called a heat shock protein, which will strengthen your immune system. So think of it this way. This fellow here is like the Pentagon, all right? The Pentagon is what activates our armies to go to war, right? Well, in your body, you have armies. Those armies are the endorphins, the NK, T cells, and lymphocytes. So when those guys are given the call from the heat shock protein, they go to battle. And look at this. This is a 3-month change in breast cancer. That's pretty amazing. We've got testimonials on a DVD here from some gentleman who had a Gleason 10 prostate cancer. Now 10, they're usually saying, make funeral arrangements. He completely reversed it, according to him, by using the mat. So, big thing, we're going to enhance the immune system, reduce fatigue, and relieve pain. This is awesome in helping remove pain, and my wife is a great testimony of that after her severe accident 4 years ago. The last thing it's going to do is it's going to open up the cell wall channels. Why is that important? Well, your cells are the engine that drive your body. You've got trillions of cells throughout all your tissues and muscles and heart function and the blood and every place. So negative ions are what is going to help open up that cell wall door. So think of it this way. You want to get those new vitamins and minerals that you're eating every day, whether you're taking supplements or you're getting it via food or both. I hope you're doing both. Then it's going to get to the cell, and that last thing it's going to open is the door. All right, so negative ions, which this mat produces, even when the heat's off, it's still producing negative ions. So it's going to open the door, and the nutrition is going to get in. So nutrition is going to get in, impurities are going to get out. Okay, so that's part of that process. So the big thing we got to do, though, is as we're detoxifying the body, is we've got to open up the biggest detoxification channel, which is your intestinal tract. All right, you have more neurons in your gut than your spinal column. Why is that important? So let's just say for a moment that you've got an issue. Maybe your right neck or right shoulder, right up in here, has got an issue. Maybe you've got some pain there. Well, there's a nerve here, and there's neurons in here that fire those nerves. And what we have found is when people get the blockage, the old fecal matter removed, those pains have a much better chance of going away. This is the brain area. So if you've been having headaches, brain fog, migraines. Chandra, our colon hydrotherapist, had severe migraines. She had 144 migraines over 12 years. So one a month on the full moon. Look at this. This is all brain area, guys. 90% of your serotonin gets made here. But back to Chandra. So she came, did a 10-day cleanse in 2013, has not had a migraine since, which is pretty amazing. So, and we've had others experience the same thing. So here's the left side. So everything related to left side, left ear, left neck, left shoulder, upper lung, heart, solar plexus. Okay, so the other thing, if you're coughing up stuff, if you've got a lot of mucus, one of the tips you want to do is avoid the 3 whites. White sugar, white flour, and your milk products. Stay away from the dairy products. So that's going to cause mucus, get around that pleural cavity, around your lungs, and that may cause you to have a lung issue, start coughing up stuff. You got that mucus. The fastest way to get rid of the mucus, and I see it all the time, this is so easy to do, is come in and do some colon hydrotherapy sessions. And usually you'll sleep better, you're not coughing all night, expelling that stuff, because your body's just trying to get it out, and it can't. The lung says, God, everything's kind of filled up like a big old toxic bucket. Now it's into the lungs. Let's reduce the lower end here. Let's get this healed up, get all that old junk out of there. It's kind of like cleaning out the refrigerator with old moldy, rotty food. That's what you're doing here. Think about it. You got 30 feet of pipe, the surface area the size of a tennis court. That's a lot of surface, guys, in that area. And so when you've got old, rotting fecal matter, maybe in there for 20, 30 years for some of you, that's a problem. And so eventually when you kind of tip over that bucket, the toxins have had too much, there's nowhere to go. You've got to get in here and do a colon hydrotherapy session. So anyways, we talked about now drinking water, hydrating, getting your body warm, and getting rid of the toxic load via first thing to remove is your colon. The next thing that you need to know about is why that's happened is because we all have emotions and we have stress, and so you stuff your stress here. And this is everybody that's watching this video, okay? Your colon and small intestine gets twisted and distorted because of this stress, and you don't even know you're doing it. Your autonomic nervous system, which is an amazing thing to have, because you don't have to think about running the heart or running the lungs or any of those things, but it just does it on its own. But when we stuff our stuff and unconsciously just stuff our emotions, get angry, sad, depressed, feared up, we stuff it here, and this is what's happened. So it's not unusual. Great example, we had a gal come in not too long ago, severely constipated, and it had been going on since 2007. What happened in 2007? Well, she got deployed to Iraq. That is probably a pretty stressful situation. I've had teenagers coming in. Well, what happened recently? Well, mom and dad got divorced. Or there's something that happened at school with some buddies and so forth. So those things can be kind of like the final trigger that is going to cause basically that toxic bucket to be overflowed. So the only way to fix this, the only way you're going to fix this, is you're going to have to do some sessions of what I call the push-ups for the colon, okay? So what do I mean by that? Well, when we're doing colon hydrotherapy, water's coming in, and it's doing two things. It's going to hydrate and dissolve the old stuff, but more importantly, this muscle does this, called peristalsis. That's how it moves the chyme, as they call it, around and out. So when this is not working properly, like this muscle here is not, this is went from being 3 inches to as big as 16 inches. There's no movement at all. It just backs up, backs up. For some of you, maybe you're going to the bathroom once every 2 days, maybe once every 3 days, once a week. I've seen once every 2 weeks. The worst case I've ever seen is someone that stayed alive, was shocking, was once a month. So the only way to get that back in shape is to hydrate. So when you put water in, the muscle wants to push back automatically. And it's kind of interesting how they discovered this years ago. But so every time you put water in, the muscle, it knows it wants to push back, but at first, like the first time you do a push-up, it's very difficult to do. But it keeps trying. Just like when you try to do push-ups, you do 1 the first day, maybe you can do 2 or 3 the next day, and so forth. So the more colon hydrotherapy sessions, the more movement we can get in that colon contracting and releasing. It's going to strengthen the colon and get back into shape. So over the years, and I was one of those people, I went once every 2 to 3 days, and to now I go to the bathroom. If I eat, I go to the bathroom. So I usually go to the bathroom 3 to 4 times a day. So that is important to have effective bowel function, and because of that, I've reduced the toxic load in my body. I'm just going to show you, this is my personal story here. My feet used to look something like this. Okay, that's a severe fungus issue due to a very toxic system. And eventually, of course, it looks just like that. But if you got any skin issues, psoriasis, eczema, whatever you want to call it, I just call it constipated toxic system. All right, and you see this guy cleared this up in about a 4-month time period. Okay, and I've had this. This is not fun. This is not fun. But anyway, he cleared it up his in a pretty short time. But so anyway, I digress a bit. Okay, here's the other big reason why you want to do colon hydrotherapy, because the second leading cause of death is colon cancer. So what happens? You go to the doc, maybe you do a colonoscopy, and the doc says, hey, you know what, we found a tumor, it's in stage 2 or stage 3, whatever it is, but we're going to take it out. They can put a little wire around this and yank it out. The problem is, they'll tell you that they got it all, but unfortunately, microscopically, there's little roots coming off those tumors. And the reason why the tumors were there is because you had this old rotting fecal matter sitting in there, and the body says, you know, we got these toxins, this excess load of toxins, where can we store it? And the liver has did the best job it can, and finally says there's no place, so your body would create a tumor or a cyst or something, someplace in the body. In this case, it's doing it in the colon. But think of this more like a tree. If you plant a tree and leave it in the ground for a couple of years and you pull it out, you're going to have little roots, right? And even though you pull that tree out, roots and all, you think, a couple of years later, what do you got? You got a new sapling coming up. And that's what will happen. So it's going to grow, travel through the lymphatic system or through the blood vessels, and eventually, like this chart shows, now it's going to exit maybe in the lung, maybe in a lymph node in the breast or on the neck. We see this all the time. And so what you want to do now, and once you clean the body, you can give it the herbs that will fire up those NK and T cells. Remember those from the previous chart. But there's also herbs you can take that will literally go in and munch down those cancer cells. So that's what you want to do if you want to do it naturally. All right? Okay. Another way to help heal the body, boost immunity, what we're talking about today, is this little device here. This is an energy machine. It's called pulse frequency, called On-Med. But this is actually putting a frequency into your body that is going to take away the blockages. So think of your body as one big electrical grid. Now, like any electrical grid, there can be trees that will fall over the power lines, right? Well, in your body, the same thing gets blocked as well by the emotional stress that you have going on. And so to undo that, we use energy. So this is another way to use energy to help get those blockages out of the way so the body can heal on its own. The other cool thing about this little device is that it can whack out the parasites. And we see a lot of parasites. So this is the lymphatic system. This is pretty cool, guys. I think it's fascinating. So you've got about, I believe, about 650 plus lymph nodes. So let's just show you some lymph nodes. Can you see these guys up here, right there? Those are lymph nodes, okay? Now you're going to say, David, what are those things for? Why do you have those? They go all the way down. All right, and what they're doing, they're the way the body scavenges kind of old garbage from around the tissues and the blood vessels and so forth. So it's kind of a scavenger, right? You got 45 pints of the lymphatic fluid. There's no pump for it. So to put that in perspective, your heart is an amazing pump, but it only has the job of pumping about 10 pints of blood, roughly. So no pump though for lymphatic system. And what happens is these lymph nodes can get blocked. And what it's doing is pulling this toxicity out of the body. If it gets blocked, eventually it could become cancerous. And that's when the doctors say, oh, gee, you got a lymph node here in your breast or up here in your lymph node or here. And so we'll just take it out. And we've seen people have, anywhere from 20 to 40 lymph nodes taken out that are affected. But there's a way you can clean them out. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But I just want to give you a good look at this. Now, the lymphatic system is going to dump this stuff. So, Dave, where's it dump it? It dumps it into the vein. And of course, the liver has got to deal with it. The liver, it's got such an amazing job to do. Absolutely amazing what the liver's doing all the time. So here's how we get lymphatic fluid moving, because most of you aren't moving very well or enough. You're not jumping up and down. You're not running after escaping the tigers and the beasts and so forth. So this is, I call this our lymphatic machine. It's actually called a whole body vibration machine. This one's made by T-Zone. And what's cool about this, you'll stand on this for about 10 minutes. I'm going to pop this on. You're going to notice the vibration. This is mimicking walking. There's different types of plates in the market. Some go up and down vertically. This one goes left and right, mimicking walking. So 10 minutes on this equals the equivalent of an hour of exercise. All right, but we don't do it for exercise. We do it primarily here for moving lymphatic fluid. So if you're getting that lymphatic fluid moving, you're going to move out some of those toxins out of the body. Now, if the blood's already dirty, you've got an issue. So that's when we talk about, especially for our 10-day cleansers, they all know that doing a liver cleanse is very, very important. And we do that as part of the protocol in our 10-day deep tissue cleanse. So having this little machine, you can actually get one, put it in your home, or come down and use it here at Living Waters, of course. But these are awesome little investment. We actually have a program right now. What is it, 300 down? Costs you about $98 a month. 18 months and you own it. So, great tool to have. Build your own little wellness center in your home. So this is some of the tools that you can use to boost your immune function. So those are some of the things. The other things that you need to do, think about, is what can you be putting in your food, right? Raw garlic's great. Raw garlic is antifungal, antiviral, so you can take up raw garlic and chop it up, and you say, oh no, I'm going to smell like garlic. Well, if you do this properly and you're doing it on a consistent basis, your body will handle it and you will not smell like garlic. So garlic's another thing you can do as a natural herb. Cayenne pepper is another thing that's in the tool, being your toolbox in the cupboard. Cayenne is awesome for if you get a sore throat. Start taking cayenne about every, not too much, about maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. About every 2 hours, put it in some juice or water and just put it down your throat, and usually that'll knock out a sore throat pretty quick. It'll burn a little bit as it first goes down, depending on the amount of heat that you have in your cayenne. But it's a quick and easy way, effective way. There are other herbs, of course, echinacea, golden seal, vitamin C. We've got a product down here that is amazing immune booster. I keep it around all the time, the immune function. I take 2 of these capsules, 2 every 2 hours if I start to get sick, and it's gone. But that's been rare since I've been doing detoxing, cleansing the last 12 years. I rarely even start to get sick. But if I do, I have this tool called Immune Formula, and I take 2 every 2 hours, and it's a quick, easy tool to have. And many of our customers have had it, and they always get sick every year. If they take that, then they've avoided it. So this is some of the tools to keep your immune system up. Do stay warm. Do stay hydrated. Shake and bake a little bit. And if you find this useful, please do share it. Make your comments below, and any questions you have, we'll be happy to answer them. I'm David DeHaas at Living Waters, and this is today's Focused on Immune Function. You make it a blessed day.